Kevin J. Johnston, the #1 name in the land of the North, he's risen to fame. 40 years deep in the law he's read. Now the CRA shakes in fear and dread. Stop paying tax forever, my friend. With Kevin J. Johnston, the fight doesn't end. Corporate debt, he'll make it all good. He's the man the CRA misunderstood. They vanish like mist when Kevin shows up with his legal fist. No more matching, no more lies, just clean-cut books and clear blue skies. Stop paying tax forever, my friend. With Kevin J. Johnston, the rules start to bend. The CRA can scream and shout, but Kevin knows how to throw them out. They claim they've got the final say, but Kevin proves there's a better way. He fights for truth, he fights for you, and teaches what the courts won't do. Forever today. Let Kevin J. Johnston show you the way. The expert, the rebel, the man with a plan. He's saving this nation, one client per hand. He's got 40 years of tax law knowing and corporate skills that keep cash flowing. At GST, payroll, all in line. He'll save your neck and every dime. He studied law, both civil crime, and makes tax code sound so sublime. With stand-up jokes and punchlines tight, he makes your seminar a night of light. Kevin J, CRA just runs away. He's the tax manslayer with a legal plan, the best-looking genius in the land. Kevin J, taking all your tax away. If the government's scared, then it's safe to say he's the hero of the North, Kevin J. 2 million women cast their vote, said Kevin's hot, that's all she wrote. The suits at CRA can't compete, he's beaten them clean without deceit. 100 mil he's saved so far, he's raising truth like a legal star. And if you think you owe the state, he'll show you how to terminate. Kevin J, CRA just runs away. He's the tax manslayer with a legal plan, the best-looking genius in the land. Kevin J, taking all your tax away. If the government's scared, then it's safe to say he's the hero of the North, Kevin J. The tax act's just a paper myth unless you work for CRA, no ifs. He buys your corp, clears every cent, then laughs while walking from the government. Restructure payroll, skip the fees, fire the tax man with graceful ease. He's winning battles in the courts each day. Soon he'll cost the feds $1 billion. Hooray! Kevin J, CRA just runs away. He's the tax manslayer with a legal plan, the best-looking genius in the land. Kevin J,
Kevin J. Johnston here. Welcome to the Tax and Money Show that runs every single Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time right here on freedomreport.ca. Tonight's episode is number 108. We are talking about payroll, GST, capital gains, and how to kick ass utilizing all of those to actually make money. That is right, folks. We're going to take all of your capital gains and turn them into major capital losses. And we're going to take all of the GST, HST, PST, and so on that you collect and put it right back into your pocket so you guys can have operating capital and make a ton of money. Yes, we want to make money. We want you making money. Well, we want me making money. I love making money. All right, guys. As I'm sure that many of you who've been watching this show for a very, very long time can attest, I had a court order when I lived in Canada against me that did not allow me to have a job. Isn't that remarkable? The courts did not want me to have any money in my pocket whatsoever, so I could not continue to educate Canadians. They figured that if I did not have a job and by court order had to be on welfare, that I would be unable to afford internet and food and so on. And it pretty much was like that. Fortunately, I had a lot of good friends that were able to get me internet and so on. And one day I just said, F this, I'm out the door. I split with my last $950. And in that time, I have become a millionaire because I'm not held back by all of the inadequacies of Canada. So for a lot of you out there who are just stressed out beyond belief, I know that all of you, you're not public figures. You're not hated by every single branch of the Canadian government. I am. I kind of like it that way. So you are not under attack all the time, yet you feel that way. So if you are thinking that it might be time to move on, then listen to yourself. It probably is time to move on. I wanted to leave Canada for the better part of 20 years, but didn't have the money to do it. Although, actually, I shouldn't say that. I did. I was just married to the wrong woman who preferred comfort over riches. I don't give a crap about comfort in any way. I live a minimalist lifestyle. I'm not interested in comfort. I don't need comfort. Comfort doesn't make me happy. Action and adventure and a whole bunch of other things, they do make me happy. Sorry, guys, we've got a fake account here pretending to be me. And we're going to go ahead and block this individual right now. Do not have conversations in the TikTok room with anyone named Kevin J. Johnston. It ain't me. You can see my hands are here. I'm not typing anything there. It's a scam account, everyone. Don't let them scam you in any way, period. All right, folks. So listen to yourself. You want to be rich, you're never going to get rich in Canada. Not now and not ever, unless, of course, you do the things tonight that I'm going to tell you to do. All right? I can still make Canadians rich, but you have to listen to every word I say. I have folks who do hire me for consultations and then they ignore me. I don't know why you'd pay me $1,500 an hour to learn how to make money and then ignore me. I don't know why. This one blew my mind. I don't know why a 62-year-old man, that's not his real age, but close, would pay me to meet with him at 6 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday to listen to everything I've got to say about how I can get him out of $4 million of debt, which is what he had. I'm not going to give you his name. That's private information. But he has this 23 or 24-year-old punk kid who says, I'm a CPA. Like, I don't give a crap. That's a designation that anybody can buy at any crappy university anywhere in Canada. And this 23, 24-year-old punk kid got angry with me when I explained every method that I would use to get this man out of debt. And I asked at the end of it, I said, well, do you gentlemen have any more questions? And he, of course, has to make sure that I know that he's upset with me because I've blown his entire worldview. No, I don't have any questions. And that's when he tells me that I'm wrong in everything I said. A 23-year-old kid is telling me that I'm wrong in everything that I've said in reference to how to rescue this client. So the client decided to listen to the child, the angry left-wing child, as opposed to listening to me. Why pay me for that? Oh, and he wanted a refund. Absolutely not. If you have a choice between listening to me and listening to a kid, and no offense to young people, I'm not offending young people here, but I'm going to go ahead and state that I would never go to somebody who's proven nothing and wants to go ahead and quote the CRA policy to me as opposed to someone who's proven time and time again they can beat the CRA. It's the same idea as I'm not going to be taking boxing lessons from a kid who's 23 years old who just got out of his first boxing match. I'm going to go to the guy who taught him how to win his first boxing match. Even if that guy has done some time in prison for, I don't know, doing something stupid, a DUI and so on, just because he did 6 months in prison doesn't mean he's not the better coach. That's how that works. Just because I have a rotten attitude towards the CRA doesn't mean I'm wrong. So I wanted to point that out to everyone. Don't hire me and then ignore me. You're going to fail. But if you hire me and listen to me, you're going to succeed. So tonight, everyone, I'm going to get all of you to please listen to everything I'm going to say. I know that on TikTok, folks, you're not going to see the slides that I'm presenting to Rumble and YouTube and Twitch and DLive and Restream and Facebook. And there's so many of them out there. They'll see the slides. You won't over here on TikTok, and you find folks over here on Instagram, you won't see them either. But I'll read everything that's on them, everyone, so you understand exactly where I'm going with what I'm going to say tonight. So the first thing I wanted to bring up here is corporate debt. In Canada, we have a big problem with corporations being in debt. I don't have the actual stats because Stats Canada doesn't know. They have no idea how many corporations are not making money, how many corporations are in dire straits. They really have no data. I actually find Stats Canada for the last 20 years have been an absolutely worthless institution. We simply do not know anything that is in reality in reference to what's actually important. Stats Canada knows how many people have blue eyes. They know how many white and brown and black and red and everybody else people there are in the country. They know that stuff, but they have no clue how many people are dying fiscally. So what I'll go ahead is tell you that the vast majority of my clients who have corporations are in dire straits, not because they're bad people, not because they're stupid people, not because they're not very good at what they do. Most of them are experts in what they do. It's that there is no training in school on how to be successful, on how money works. And there is no way for anyone to learn, except for the school of hard knocks, how to defeat the branches of government, because obviously the government's not going to teach you how to beat the government when you are in school. And universities are also not teaching you how to beat the government because the government subsidizes them. All right. So we're up against this big machine of individuals out there that want to keep us all at bay. Canadians do not like seeing other Canadians succeed. So Canadians will go out of their way to harm others. That's the other big problem, is that Canadians will spend more time sabotaging another successful Canadian than spending the time it takes to become a successful Canadian. So in Canada, not only are you up against the government and bad education, you're up against the CRA and all the taxes and whatnot out there, but you're up against everybody who is jealous of you. So I can guide you on how to ignore that, but that's not the point of tonight's show. The point of tonight's show is to change how you think about your debts, to change how you think about what you can do to make a boatload more money. So let's start with it. Our first slide here is corporate acquisitions, everyone. Corporate acquisitions. So let's say you have debts. I'm listing all the debts here. Here's the most common debts that corporations have: GST, HST, and payroll source deductions. All right. Now, those are considered trust accounts. What that means is the federal government has made it very clear to all of us that they think that HST and whatnot that you are collecting is theirs, that you're holding it in trust to give to them. You're the one who's going out there writing invoices, and you're the one who has to collect all this, and then you're supposed to hold it and give it to them. They call it a trust account, which is why when a corporation goes bankrupt or belly up or whatever else it does, they chase the director for the GST that you owe or the corporation owes or what they say is owed. All right? Just because they say you owe it doesn't mean you do, but they will try their very best to enforce it. And that is one of the biggest problems going here, is that the CRA will take a wild guess on what the GST, HST, and source deductions are, and then they'll chase the director even when the corporation no longer exists. Big problem. You don't want to ever be the director. Remember, make Bugs Bunny the director of your corporation at all times. All right. But the other one is PST, that's provincial sales tax. There are provincial statutes about this PST, the provincial sales tax debt. Yet we can only find one case law in Canada where a province actually managed to get the PST considered to be a trust account, but then it was overturned anyway. However, they will put liens on your property, especially in the province of BC. So if you have too much GST, HST, PST, or payroll source deduction debt, that's the stuff that either the province or the federal government will chase you for. We got to make sure that we take that debt away from you. Corporate income tax, that's a given. CEBA, that's right. We still get a lot of corporations contacting us that have the CEBA loan, which was the emergency loan given out during the COVID nonsense. You know, that nonsense that they told us was real. That is what people are still paying. It's between $40,000 and $60,000 loans that everyone got, and the CRA is getting pretty vicious about collecting. There's bank loans, there's corporate credit card debt, there are private creditors, and then there are fines and tickets. And the one thing I forgot to put on the list was judgments. That's right. If you get sued, that would be a judgment, everybody. And when you've got a judgment against you, that is considered debt. So what is the solution to the problem? Well, the solution is sell me the corporation, everybody. Let's say, for example, you have $1 million in all of that debt combined. You're never going to pay it off. And a stupid person goes and gets a bank loan and pays that off. We've had some people that have contacted us who have put 5, 6, 10 mortgages on multiple properties to pay tax bills. And if they had just never done a tax return in the first place, there would never have been a tax bill. Isn't that amazing? Every single tax problem that all of you have comes from you having done a tax return in the first place. Had you never done one, and of course, had your properties never been in your name, you would never have any financial or tax problems in Canada. So what you can do is sell me that corporation. You got $1 million in debt. I buy the corporation. I sell you back all of your assets for 20% of the value of the entire debt load, which means you are going to walk away from $800,000 of debt. 80% of all your debt is history. It becomes my problem. And the CRA is going to have to chase me for it. Now, a lot of you ask, Kevin, why would you buy debt? That seems crazy to me. Well, to the average individual, sure. Debt is something that everybody is terrified of for their own reasons. And I know what the reasons are typically is that you had parents and relatives, grandparents, aunts, uncles, whoever, all of them taught you debt's bad. Pay your house off as fast as you can. You just can't have debt. And Canadian women, sorry, ladies, but I got to tell the truth here. I have a lot of women that we've spoken to who absolutely freak out at the idea of having to take a loan against their house, which would be like 3%, to pay off credit card debts and all kinds of other crazy debts they've got that are between 18 and 30%. No, I don't want to go further into debt to pay off debt. I have to explain. It's less debt, but you can still build wealth off it. Example. I have a lot of paid off property here. However, being paid off means nothing. What I'm doing is if I pay off a property and then just sit on the paid off property, that money's not doing shit. And I mean, it's doing nothing for me. So I'm taking out massive loans against all of them to buy crypto and to buy more property. That's exactly how that's going to work. All right, folks. So I'm going to take money and I'm going to make money work for me. I'm not afraid of debt. Not at all. Because what happens, let's say I take out loans against 4 condominiums. Let's just say for argument's sake, that's what I'm going to do. I go and buy 4 more. I get in a car accident and I can't walk and I can't speak anymore. I can't sell. I can't do whatever. I can sell 2 condos and pay off 6. So there you go. Debt's not that big a deal if you know that you have to look 20 moves ahead. So what would I do with your debt when I buy your corporation? I'm going to call every client that I've got who's making too much money. We have a few of those. There's quite a few multimillionaires that we deal with. And I'll call them up saying, hey guys, guess what? just bought $8 million in debt today. Would you like it? So they will talk to their accountants or whomever else that whoever else they're going to talk to within the company, and then they're going to decide, do they want to buy it as a bad investment for a write-off against income, or do they have some capital gains that year they want to wipe out? They can buy it in as a capital loss. There we go. Check that out, everyone. I can sell debt to a company that makes too much money and they can write that off. So buying your debt is good for you and it's good for me. Debt is a commodity. Now, for those of you out there who don't quite understand what I'm saying about leveraging all the condominiums that I own, every single condo that I own, I'm leveraging them all to buy crypto. Kevin, why would you buy crypto? It's not real. Well, I believe in it, and I've been investing in it now for about 4.5 years. And I have done incredibly well with it. And I was cracking jokes a few months ago saying, I'm down $400,000 in my crypto. That's because we're in a bear market right now. So it's going to go back up. Every single solitary thing in human history drops, goes up, levels off, drops, levels off low, and gets medium, goes up again. That's how it is. So when crypto goes to the bull side, the bull market, I'll get the 400K value back plus plenty more. And in order for me to take advantage of that bull market, I have to leverage debt, your debt from your corporations, debt that I'm going to put onto my own properties, buy a ton of crypto. That's the plan. There's all kinds of ways to make money, everybody. But now let's go back to you selling me your corporation. If you're going to be selling me $1 million of debt or any debt, doesn't matter what the debt is, I'm going to take your debt from you. You get to start over. You're starting over. You go to zero. I'll get you into a brand new corporation. We have to get you brand new bank accounts, everyone, and brand new HST or GST or PST numbers or a combination thereof. But you have no more debt. And the CRA legally can't even contact you anymore because you're not the director and you're not the owner. So when you start over, hopefully at that point, you're going to reflect. As adults, we have to reflect on every single mistake that we ever made. All of them. Let me share one of my mistakes with you. When I was 18 years old, I started DJing. I was making good money. It was between 200 and $400 a night at the first place that I was DJing in. The tips were good. But then I moved downtown and started DJing downtown where it was $1,000 a night. The tips were awesome. Awesome. Just amazing. I was making a ton of money. In fact, back in those days, back in the 80s, gas was 40 cents a liter and brand new houses were only $80,000. But instead of buying a house, I lived a lavish lifestyle. I was stupid. I didn't put money into a freaking house. I could have bought a 3-car garage home. For anyone who knows the homelands in Mississauga, nice houses in that neighborhood. And at 80 grand, back then when property tax was maybe $900 a year, I could have paid a couple of years of tax in advance and had a very, very different life. Even when the economy tanked in 94, I would have had a fully paid off house because believe me, I made more than double that amount of money in my 19th year of life. Stupid mistake. I could be a loser about it and say it's all my parents' fault because they didn't know anything about commerce and they didn't teach me anything at all about commerce. I could blame them, but at the same time, I did drive past for sale signs and I did see all kinds of listings in newspapers all the time. House for sale, $64,000. House for sale, $91,000. I had the money and I did not buy a house. I at the time of being 18, 19, I would not have known how to do it, but go see a lawyer and I'm sure the lawyer would have taken care of everything for me. I reflect on that all of the time. So when I know that I've got a spare $500,000 lying around, or I've got a big contract coming in, I have zero interest in fancy suits and cars. I've lived in Panama 2 years. I still don't own a car here. What's the point? I can take $3 Ubers everywhere. I can walk. I can take a 35-cent subway ride. I'm already planning out my next 5 property purchases, learning the mistake that I made as a teenager. Don't waste money. It's hard to earn and easy to spend. Put it into something of value. There's also something I could encourage all of you to watch, the old Disney, like the pre-1970s Disney. Don't watch any modern crap. But I think that you might all remember Donald Duck and his three nephews, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, and his uncle, Uncle Scrooge. They put a really good video out where Uncle Scrooge, he's a miser, but he's a multi-billionaire. And he explains in his duck voice to three young ducks how to make money work for you. You got to watch that video. If you want to learn about commerce and compound interest and property, watch stuff from the 40s. They knew what they were doing back then. Modern stuff, everyone just takes books from the 40s. They get some snippets, they throw it into ChatGPT now, and they say, ChatGPT, write me a book. It's not accurate. They don't know what they're talking about. Read the stuff that Carnegie put out. Read the stuff that Robert Greene puts out. These are like hardcore individuals who have lived incredible lives, who have a lot to teach you about these things. Learn. So as for your corporation, everyone, when you sell me your corporation, I'm allowing you to start over. Please reflect on your previous mistakes. Don't make the same mistakes again, and get right out there and start selling immediately. And as for those of you out there who don't have a corporation to sell and want to make a lot of money, then get on my website, kevinjjohnston.com, use the contact form, and let us know that you want to sell. You want to be a corporate acquisition sales rep, because I'm telling you guys, the commissions are big. I'm crazy. I pay the biggest commissions in any business in Canada. They're absolutely immense, and I want you out there selling what we do. So get over my website, kevinjjohnston.com, and sign up to get out there and start selling. All right, so what happens when you get your brand new corporation, everybody? Well, there is a potential for you to get back into trouble. And the biggest one is payroll. All right. So what you cannot see on TikTok or Instagram here is payroll source deductions. All right. 9 out of 10 corporations in Canada have payroll debt. Big problem. So let's cover this one. Why? Well, first off, that COVID nonsense crushed a lot of companies in Canada. It crushed so many because so many people were too busy being afraid and too busy praying that some bylaw officer wouldn't walk into your business and give you a ticket. People were so concerned about getting a ticket that they could fight in court that they were willing to tell customers, get out. You're not wearing a mask. Don't spend money here. Get out. I have a mortgage to pay and children to feed, but do not give me your money because I don't know. Fear will kill you. It'll crush you in every endeavor in life. Everything. It's going to stop you from asking out your favorite lady. Ladies, it'll stop you from asking out your favorite guy. You'll throw away potentially amazing relationships because you're afraid to talk to someone. It's going to cost you car accidents when you second guess yourself when you're pulling out into traffic. If you know you're doing it safely, just get it done. But you pull in and you hit the brakes. What happens? People hit you from behind. People hit you in the front. Fear. We've seen this many times where people are afraid to merge with traffic on the highway, so they actually stop on the on-ramp, which could potentially be a manslaughter charge. Someone rams in the back of you because you're too afraid to merge with traffic properly. You're a killer. I mean, there was a woman in Quebec who was too afraid on the highway to run over ducks that were crossing the highway. And a motorcyclist who didn't see her stopped in the middle of the highway, hit her, flew 150 feet and died. And she did prison time for that. Screw the ducks. I'm not going to utilize fear as an excuse ever to not act and get things not done, to get things into a position where I'm in danger or someone else is in danger or I'm just not making any money. So this whole fear thing in the COVID days stopped a lot of you from actually making money. But the other problem is you still had to carry all your rent. You had to carry your electrical, your phones, your internet, your social media contracts, staff. All of you had to carry that. And you used your source deductions to pay for all those bills. All right. You had staff. You took off their source deductions, but you held on to the money to pay for things because you weren't making enough money. So here's hoping that all of you who are watching right now, I'm hoping you're not going to be upset with me for pointing out the obvious, that people kicked other human beings out of their stores to say, I don't want a ticket from bylaw, without ever having thought through that there's only 6 bylaw officers in the city of Mississauga. There was only 12 or 13 in Toronto. There just aren't enough people to go out there and punish you. And if you get a ticket, you take it to court. Fear. So COVID wrecked that. You took your extra money, your source deductions, and you paid all your other bills with it. I get that. It doesn't make you a bad person, but it does make you someone who screwed up heavily. But since 9 out of 10 companies in Canada do this, make these mistakes, you're not alone. And again, you're not a bad person for screwing up, but you do have to pay attention when you're trying to run a business. All right, Johnston, I'll take those from you. So next we have your accountants. They suck. A lot of you have payroll problem because accountants suck. They just don't know what they're doing. Or they say they know what they're doing, but they're utilizing the CRA's playbook in its entirety. They're doing what the CRA wants, not what the client needs. Tax lawyers suck more. So when you're going to a tax lawyer, everyone, to get your taxes done or to get your life fixed up, lawyers love to take your money. And then they love to just take your file and put it on their desk and ignore it. And then when you call, you talk to their secretary, who doesn't know anything about the file. And then you call again, same thing. And you call again. And then we find out the tax lawyer just had his plebe, his part-time kid, do it, just like H&R Block would do. Tax lawyers have been told by the various law societies in Canada not to tackle the CRA, not to take money away from the federal government. So tax lawyers in Canada are positively worthless. We do not need to use them. You should not be using tax lawyers in Canada. They are that bad, believe me. And then the other problem with your payroll debt is the CRA just makes shit up. That's right. They assess, they lie, they put penalties on, they call you up and try to threaten you if you sound like you're afraid on the phone. They put more money on your debt. They do whatever they want. So long as you sound weak on the phone or apologetic on the phone, they will continue to add more to your debt. And on the payroll side, of course, they're going to put 30% interest on that and penalties. And the penalties are whatever they want to put on there. It's not like they've got a booklet of penalties and it's all just arbitrary. They just do it because they feel like doing it. So what is the solution, everybody? You have to turn me into your professional employer organization. Me and my team, I got this great team here. We will have to become your professional employer organization. That's right. Because if you want zero CRA liability, everybody, turn it all over to me and my team. Turn it over to my company. What happens here is in payroll, we will assume 100% of your CRA liability. All right, which means we're going to not allow you with your new corporation to get an RP number. That would be your registered payroll number from the CRA. If you don't have one, you will never have payroll problems. You'll never have payroll debt. Instead, what I do is I run your payroll for you, use my RP number, utilize my payroll company, and we do it all for you. And we are the ones that do the T4s and the T4As for your staff. If you never have an RP number, you're now never going to be in the 9 out of 10 companies, the 90% of companies who have payroll problems. And that way the CRA is never going to pester you. And naturally, if you're not the director of the corporation, but rather Ronald Reagan is, you're never going to have the problem of them chasing you directly either, everybody. So my job is to make you on the payroll side of your business 100% invisible to the CRA. If you have an RP number, you are very visible to the CRA because the Canada Revenue Agency considers payroll to be their number one driving force. And they make a lot of money on it. Something like $400 billion they make off payroll. It's insane how much money the CRA is bringing in every year on your taxes. Don't be a part of that. Let me take care of all of your payroll, everybody. And these payroll problems will go the way of the dodo the day that I take it all over. And here is the other awesome part, everyone, is let's just say you get yourself a brand new corporation with me or even on your own. Doesn't make a difference who does it for you. And let's just say, for example, you've actually been doing payroll for 3 or 4 months and you say, Kevin, I want you to take over payroll. No problem. We cancel the T4s in your company and we reissue the T4s through my company. That's right. So none of your staff will ever be screwed on a T4. We do the T4s. We do the T4As because I need and want your staff to get their Canada pension plan or their unemployment insurance should things go awry for them. And of course, I legally have to issue a T4 if I'm signing a contract with you stating that I'm giving you a T4 for all of your staff. Imagine that. What would I be? A jerk? Asshole? Oh, I would be a criminal if I was to lie to you and not issue T4s to your staff. So folks, let me handle it. The CRA is terrified of me. They know that I hate them with all my heart. They know that if there is any way at all that I can bring egregious harm to any of them, I will. Mostly financial, of course. If I am taking care of this and I am doing all your payroll for you, you're never going to get a single phone call nor a single letter from the CRA to do with payroll. When 90% of the country gets something wrong and you are in that country as a Canadian citizen, someone who does things very similarly to the rest of the country, you're most likely going to be part of that 90%. Again, not because you're stupid, but because they don't teach us anything in school about any of this. They teach us fractions. Long division, everybody. Word problems. Yeah, word problems. You know, a train pulls into the station at 8 a.m. and 6 people get on, 4 people get off. There's 12 in the back. It pulls up in the next train station, 9 get off, 12 get in, and 1 dies. Then it goes to the next station and so on. You remember those stupid things? And you're supposed to know how many people are on the train after the 5th station. It's an imaginary train that you're not even on. And no one's paying you to do that stupid work. So I would just write down how many people are on the train. And I'd write down, I have no effing idea. Those were my answers in grade 6. Or I don't care, or who gives a shit? It doesn't matter. Because I remember when I was in grade 6, everybody, I saw this good-looking dude, nice suit, driving gloves, hot Porsche. Remember Spy Hunter, the video game? Remember the Porsche 911 they used in that video game? Every kid wanted a Porsche 911. That's what we all wanted. This guy has this hot chick sit in the car, gets in, throws it in gear, spins out of the school parking lot. I'm thinking, that's so awesome, man. I want that car. I wasn't thinking about chicks in grade 6. I was thinking about cars and money. And I realized when I'm in school, when we're doing infinitive verbs in French class, je suis, tu es, il est, elle est, nous allons. What were we learning all that for? Nothing. And we had this stuff called social studies. It didn't teach us anything about money or how to shake hands with a potential employer or how to write a resume. Mathematics was stupid crap. Nobody learned anything. Sure, we could add and subtract and divide and multiply. But ultimately speaking, none of that had anything to do with money. And they always told us, because I went to Catholic school, money is the root of all evil. Hold on. What? It couldn't be, because money paid for the school that we're in. I was also thinking to myself, for those of you who want to look this up, I went to St. Gerard Elementary School. It's on McBride Avenue in Mississauga. Right beside it is St. Martin of Tours Church. Cool church. But I kept saying, oh, teacher, whoa, if money's the root of all evil, then did we not use money to build the church that we go to every Friday for noon mass? And of course, I'd get the strap for disturbing the class. How dare I ask intelligent questions? So a lot of you folks out there are in that same boat. You've been taught nothing about how taxes work. So let's do this. Let me put a thought in your head. If you're a welder, get clients, weld, collect the money. If you're a plumber, plumb, collect money. If you are a consultant, consult, make money. How's that sound? You're not accountants and you're not tax strategists, and none of you are carrying the chip on your shoulder as big as mine when it comes to the CRA. So just walk away from the payroll crap and let me do it. Bring your payroll to my company. You're never going to have the payroll problems again. Now, yeah, skilled trades. If you're a skilled tradesman, you're not an accountant. So if you've got staff, let me pay them. Let me do your payroll. You go and sell. You go do your skills. Bring the money in. I'll take care of your books on the payroll side. All right, folks? That is very key. Don't go to accountants. Never mind chartered professional accountants, CPAs or CAs or DAs or DICs or whatever they call themselves. They're not going to do any of this for you. None of them are going to take your payroll, do it for you. And then here's the kicker for you all. If I am doing your payroll, ready for this surprise, this is the part that I saved for last. If I am doing your payroll for you, you're getting 10% back on the gross source deductions as investment capital for your business that you can put directly back into your company. And I do not charge you for the payroll services. Think about that. You can go to ADP and give them $50,000 a month and they can do your payroll for you. You'll lose money with them. If the CRA comes calling, they do cooperate. I've got them on recordings saying that they will absolutely cooperate with everything that the CRA says. Everything. Okay, folks, I don't give my phone number out because I would never sleep. However, please go to my website right now. I've got Chris with me in the office right now. If any of you out there want anything to do with payroll, jump onto my website. My name, Kevin J. Johnston, JOHNSTON.com. For those who know my website, stick it in the private chat right now, please, so that everyone can get over there. Contact us right this minute. Put the word payroll in the subject line. Chris is going to reply to you tonight. All right, let's get that done. All right. And for those who have questions, save your questions for the second half of the show. I'm almost done here. All right. And I go through everyone's questions here and you'll all get your questions answered. All right. So the next big problem everyone has is GST and HST. It's that HST, GST trust account crap. All right. And it's crap. GST is the goods and services tax. For my American friends who are watching, Australia and Canada have the goods and services tax. So in Australia, it's a 10% flat tax on every good and every service in the country. It's a federal tax. So every single Australian state has to pay GST. In Canada, it's a 5% federal tax. Started off as 7%, but now it's a 5% federal tax. But in the province of Ontario, they chose to have the CRA take provincial sales tax and merge it with the federal tax, which is called harmonized sales tax. So it's 13% in Ontario. New Brunswick is 14, I think. New Brunswick's 15. Nova Scotia's harmonized sales tax is 14. Prince Edward Island is 15. It's crazy. 15% sales tax on everything you buy. Imagine buying a brand new built house and paying 15% on that. It's nuts, all right? But that is what they consider to be a trust account. So they say, go out, collect all this money and give it to us. Just like on the payroll side. Hold it for us, give it to us. So how do all of you get behind in your HST and your PST and your GST? Well, COVID caca, that hurt. Like, I'm going to go right back to COVID. We had 3 years where the government shut us all down, gave us tickets for trying to make money, gave us tickets for telling the truth about the fact there was no pandemic. All right, you can't say that on YouTube. But here we are, all these years later, and people have not recovered yet. It takes a long time to recover from a government deliberately shutting down its own economy. But you also, again, like I said earlier, have no training. If you're a tradesman, go be a tradesman. Let me handle your GST. If you're a doctor, be a doctor. Save lives. Yeah, let me do your GST. Another problem is you collect GST and HST, but you don't separate it. You see, the smartest thing in the world that anyone can do is to collect HST and GST and then put it into a separate bank account. You're not going to earn a lot of interest on it because this is Canada after all. Now, most banks right now are paying less than 1% interest on any money in the bank. And when I show that to people here in Panama, they flip. They can't believe it. You put $1 million in Toronto Dominion Bank, you don't even get 1% interest. Wow. What's the point, everybody? All right. But you got to separate any taxes that you're collecting. Put them in a separate bank account so you don't accidentally spend them, which is part of the next portion here. Oops, wrong one. Here we are. You report your GST. For some reason, a lot of you are just, I got to do my taxes. I got to do them. So you report that you collected GST, but then you don't pay it because you merged your GST and your HST and your provincial sales taxes into the same operations bank account as you use for everything else. So why would you even do a GST return if you have no intention of paying it or if you've already burned all the money out? That's crazy. And that's what happens to a lot of you. And then you forgot. That's the other big one. And look, guys, ladies and gentlemen, it's okay to forget. A lot of people forget. You got a lot on your mind. I mean, if you are running a business, not only are you running a business, but you're most likely running a household as well. If you are a man who's married, 3 kids, and you're running a business, you've got the business 10, 12 hours a day, and you got family life. You got to try to balance everything out. You know, you're leaving your corporation to get home to get your kids to hockey on time because it's really important as a father to be there for that stuff. Those moments don't ever come back. So you got stuff in your head. You just forgot that you spent the GST money. Doesn't make you a bad person, but it does mean that you need me to take it all over for you. It does mean that. So the other problems are in GST is everything I've just mentioned, and the very fact that a lot of you get completely and totally stressed out when you set up your GST incorrectly. So a lot of you set your GST up monthly. Don't do that. It's impossible to keep up with it. Or a lot of you will set up your GST quarterly and then just forget to report because it's a lot of work to do 4 tax returns a year, 5 if you count the end of the year income tax return, which means you're now in the precarious position of owing GST because you spent it, you forgot about it, you merged it with another bank account. Yeah, maybe your accountant was pocketing it, whatever it might be. There's all kinds of reasons why this kind of thing goes wrong. So everyone, here's the deal. Let me take over your GST and your HST account. And I'm making a hell of an offer tonight to the first 10 companies that get a hold of me on my website. Do not contact me through DMs on any social media platform. I don't have time to look at DMs. The scammers will use DMs. I do not communicate with anybody through WhatsApp. I do not communicate with anybody through Signal or through Telegram. I most certainly do not have conversations with anybody here in TikTok or here in Instagram, aside from to say, thank you, use my website. So for the first 10 companies that sign up for this, for the GST program, you're going to get 30% cash back from me on every single dollar that you collect in GST or HST. Yes, I have invented a GST and HST program that's absolutely going to blow your mind. It puts 30% of it right back into your pocket as investment capital, tax free. Yes, Land Snow, give me your payroll. I do the same thing. I give 10% back on payroll, and we give 30% back now on GST. Now, the 30% offer is only for the first 10 companies that sign up for this. I'm not going to make a 30% offer to everybody past tonight. So sign up now. Go to my website, Kevin, middle initial J, last name Johnston, JOHNSTON.com. Contact me there. Chris is here. He's watching the contact form right now. If you want to be a sales rep and make big commissions, let us know. If you want me to do payroll for you, let us know. If you want to be a part of the HST GST program and get 30 points back, let me know. I'm ready to start. I can have contracts in your hands by the end of the day Thursday of this week for all of this. And yes, I'm deadly serious about what I do. I take what I do for a living extremely seriously. I take my studying of the law very seriously. But the other thing is, folks, I absolutely love what I do. I love what I do for all of you. And there's a good question, Aaron. I'm saying if you have a business in Canada and you collect HST or GST, I'm offering 30% back on all the GST and HST you collect in cash. All right, it's one hell of a contract. And here's the other cool part is if you're on our contract, you do not pay for my company's accounting services to get your GST filings done. I'm saving you $10,000 a year. I'm not charging you $10K per year to get your GST returns done. There is no accounting company in the history of man that's made this offer. I promise you that. And there'd be a lot of accountants out there saying, how can he do that? It has to be illegal. Oh my goodness, I've never heard of it. And I went to university. Ugh, that's what they're going to say. Well, first off, to all the CPAs out there who are watching, you suck. All of you do. You're all afraid of the CRA. You know what bothers me about chartered professional accountants? I've looked at a lot of tax work that these so-called CPAs have done for people. On the first page of their tax returns that they do for you, it's a letter saying, we accept no responsibility for this tax return as it's all based on numbers the client gave us. Whereas in the contracts that you sign with me when we do your taxes is I state I stand by my work and I am 100% accountable and responsible for everything that I put down on these pieces of paper. What's the CRA going to do? Sue me? I've been begging the Canada Revenue Agency to file a lawsuit against me for 2 years straight. I send them faxes saying, bitch, sue me. Please. They won't do it. I bother their representatives all the time, and they've told me a couple times, don't record calls with the CRA and put it out for the world to hear. It's not nice. If you keep doing it, we're going to call the police. I'm thinking, just a second here. You're not going to call the cops. I can tell you that right now. You know how I know? Because every police department in Canada has my phone number. They all have my phone number. Every department, every provincial police force, the RCMP, and every municipal police force in the country has my phone number. Why? Because I'm a public figure with a big mouth, and I've upset a lot of government officials. Do you know how many times the police have called me in the last 2 years? Go on, take a crack at it. Take a guess. It's zero. They're not calling. Why? Because the CRA is not going to call the cops. Let me explain something to you about the law. Let's talk about procedures in Canada. Let's say I call up a bunch of CRA representatives and let them know that they should, actually wipe their butts when they're done, actually shower once a decade, actually stop. Never mind. Okay, I'm not going to get crass here. But what if they filed a criminal charge against me? So here's what happens. There would be either an arrest warrant that goes out or a summons to appear in court. One or the other. So if you get arrested, you get a bail hearing, you get bail, you make your first appearance, you just say your name for the record, you make a second appearance where you enter a plea, and then there's a case management meeting that your lawyer and the Crown Attorney has. And if they say there's enough to go to court here, I'm thinking, this is perfect. This is absolutely perfect. You know why? Is because they have to go on the stand. The Canada Revenue Agency, if they were going to file criminal charges against me for bothering their staff, have to go on the stand. And they get grilled. You see, I would most likely self-represent because I'm really good at cross-examination. I do have a criminal lawyer, folks, but I may ask him to step back because I would have a litany of questions for these criminals who work for the CRA. And the questions are just not going to stop. And I get to subpoena them to come in and answer questions. Because if the CRA is going to present evidence, they're going to have witnesses. It can't just be one guy says, Kevin was mean to me on the phone. That's not a crime. But if they're going to have big witness reports, I get to cross-examine every single witness. Do you really think the Canada Revenue Agency wants me to have that kind of free advertising? Right? Think about that. So they're not going to be coming at me for any of this stuff. All right, folks? They do everything they possibly can. Just like Rick says here, it's all a scare tactic. But the biggest problem is it works on a lot of you. You got to stop being afraid of some third world idiot giving you a phone call. We're going to take your house. Someone says we're going to take your house. Call the cops. That's a threat. That's intimidation. That's extortion. File criminal charges. You have the right to do it. But all of you say the same thing. I don't want backlash. What happens if I charge them? And what are they going to do? Show up and shoot you? Come on. We got to really start thinking things through, folks. We're adults after all. There is a process the CRA has to follow. And cops can't just walk into your house and shoot you. And they're the ones who are actually allowed to carry guns. The CRA is not allowed to carry guns. They're not the IRS. They're not cops. They're just losers. So the CRA is not coming to your front door armed to the teeth. Many of you think this. A lot of you think this. And a lot of you think that when someone rings your doorbell, you have to answer the door. And when someone says, I work for the CRA, I need to see your books. Here's my business card. Oh, and you let them in. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? So folks, a lot of the tax problems you have is because of you. But I'm here to fix them. All right, here we go. Last slide. Capital gains. You got some capital gains, everybody? How's about some capital losses? All right, let me explain this. You buy a house for $100,000 30 years ago. You sell it for $1.1 million 20 years later. The capital gain on that property is literally $1 million. That means that the house has a profit over top of its original cost of $1 million. So the CRA is going to go 50%. They're going to tax you. Sorry, they're going to tell you that they have the number. How do you pronounce that word? Have the number. So they'll bring the million down to 500K, and your capital gain will be half of that number. So it's half of half. $250,000. You really want to give away $250,000 on a house you've sold? You had the job. You had to apply for the mortgage, which is not easy. You had to pay the mortgage, maintain the property, insure the property, cut the grass, fix the roof, fix the furnace, clean the ducts, do the dishes. You had to do all of these things. And some jerk at the CRA is going to say, you sold your house, give us money. It's not a law. There's no law that says that you have to give them a capital gain. And there's not a single law in Canada that says you have to report a capital gain. I've told you before, if you put anything on line 12,700 on your tax return, you've got 3 more forms you got to fill out. And that would be you saying, I've got a capital gain. And these forms are so complex that most accountants don't know how to fill them out, but you still got to go to an accountant and get one. You got to get this done. So you're spending money on the accountant to then give money to the CRA. If you just kept your mouth shut in the first place and left the line blank, you'd be fine. However, there are a lot of you out there who are just not brave enough to not report your capital gain. There's another problem, is that the Netherlands have now brought in unrealized capital gains. So if you bought your house 20 years ago, and the capital gain is $1 million on it today, they will tax you on the capital gain even if you haven't sold the property. Now, the Netherlands made this law. They implemented January 1st of 2028. We know what my solution is. I already have one. Let's go ahead and show you now. I can sell you capital losses. That's right. Currently, I can do it in Canada, United States, Australia, and the Netherlands. Yeah, that's right. So everyone, knowing that there is going to be capital gains coming to you at some point, and knowing that they will eventually remove the capital gain exemption from your primary residence in Canada, why not buy some capital losses from me? You guys know that I buy tons and tons of debt. There are so many capital losses that I'm purchasing when I buy these corporations. Now, I've got about $550 million right now. I've sold $50 million of capital losses so far. You know where I've sold them to? Is Australia and Netherlands mostly, because they understand capital gains and having a capital loss. I don't think Canadians quite understand why it's so important now to have a capital loss on your ledger. If you have a capital loss, let's say 10 years ago, of $1 million, that $1 million capital loss stays on your file for the rest of your life. So if you have a $1 million capital gain in the future, everybody, then that $1 million capital loss from 10 years ago is going to wipe it out completely. So each and every one of you out there need to get a capital loss from me now. You just get it done. Please get it done. Or you do what I've told you to do before, and that is get me to register a corporation and create corporate bylaws for you. All right? Move the house into a corporation where you are not the director, but you are the shareholder, which means you own it. And when you go to sell the house, you simply sell the corporation and the house just goes with it. And if someone's really stupid and says, well, I don't want a company, I just want the house. Fine, the hell with them. Sell them the house. You're not the director, so it doesn't matter if there's going to be a capital gain. And if you're worried about it, give me a call and I'll buy the corporation from you and I'll take the capital gain. And the CRA can chase me for the capital gain. But I think you know what I would do. I'll buy your company from you and take some of my $550 million of capital losses and transfer it in. Now the corporation's at zero. All right? So you can all do this, but I've already perfected all this. It would take you probably 41 years to learn everything I'm telling you now. That's how long I've been studying tax law in Canada. I've also studied criminal and corporate law in Canada. And since the Canadian government doesn't like me very much, they have completely put me through the ringer in Canada, 430 something plus court appearances in 7 years. For what reason? Just to piss me off, just to try to break my spirit. It's called the process is the punishment. And it is a punishment. I don't think any of you realize how boring the Canadian court system is. You know what's boring about it? Is how seriously everybody in the court system takes themselves. You know, when you get a grown man putting on a black dress, that's weird. Don't you think that's weird? I think that's weird. I would never put a black dress on and then sit behind a desk saying, I'm better than all of you because I have a black dress on. That's what it is. You ever notice, guys, ladies and gentlemen, our tax dollars go into building these stupid courthouses. They don't keep criminals off the streets at all. All right. What they do instead is they take money from all of us. So think about the way the courthouse works. You go into a courtroom and the judge sits behind this big desk and he's got a big chair and his head level is about, I don't know, maybe 7 feet higher than everybody else. So the big man with the big black dress in the big chair is looking down at the world. It's a power move. It's a dog and pony show is what it is. Oh, it's theater. And then they come out and they put on all these big words. Yeah, you're right, Rick, it's all intimidation. And what they did is they've taken about half the English language and redefined the words in it. Person does not mean human being in Black's Law Dictionary. It means corporation. That's what it means. Think about that. All these words have been redefined. So it's this little tight-knit circle of jerk-offs who know all of this lingo. And we don't know the lingo. But here's the deal that I really can't quite figure out. The courts are paid for by our tax dollars. They don't serve us in any way. They don't make any of our lives better in any way. And I'm wondering, wait a minute, they're corporations. In order for these things to get money from the province, which itself is a corporation, they need to cut invoices or have some kind of a contract with that corporation. So corporation A is dumping money into the corporation B, which has employees, being the crown attorneys who are psychopaths and being the judges who have no value. These people are being paid by a corporation. Now, how is it that a corporation gets to tell us how we can and cannot live? And in Canada, it's disgusting because the laws are all wrapped around making sure that people with conservative viewpoints or people who have drive and ambition are just squashed at every turn. It is positively ridiculous how many times I've been in courtrooms listening to courts telling people, you can't say those mean words in this country. We are a multicultural society. I'm going to put you away for 6 days. Now, for what reason? What did that serve? You know, when the Canadian government kept putting me in prison, which they've done for 7 months, I've had to spend 7 months in solitary confinement because I just tell the truth. No violent crimes. Even my entire police dossier says I'm not a violent guy. Period. They all say that I'm no danger, but I do know all the laws. That is in my dossier. Their goal was to intimidate. Their goal was to get me to say, okay, you're right. You're wearing that really gay black dress, so you're right, okay? Yeah, I'll do what you say. It didn't work. What they did, what the entire court system did, is they pissed me off. They really pissed me off. Spending time in solitary confinement, you've got time to reflect on a lot of things. And there was a lot of time that I had to replay every single word that was said to me by every single cop and every single judge and crown attorney, and even what my lawyer had to say. And I formulated a plan to win. Here I am. I took $400 million away from the CRA last year. I'm going to take $1 billion away this year. I'm taking everything away from these people. I will be the man who shuts down the Canada Revenue Agency. And when those guys go, the federal court's not going to have any money to spend. So maybe they'll go next. And that hopefully will filter down to the entire provincial court system in Canada, which also sucks. It all has to go away. The court system has been funded by tax dollars in the British Empire for over 500 years. It's the same system from 500 years ago. It doesn't work, and we're paying for it. Think about that, everybody. Do you still want to pay tax? Do you really want to pay any more tax dollars, knowing that, first off, most of it's either A, leaving the country to be laundered, B, going into some politician's pocket, or C, going into more police to destroy your lives and more courts to destroy your lives and more prisons? How many of you have actually had a gander at the size of the remand center in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada? This building, the internal space of this building, which is just designed to imprison people who haven't even had a day in court yet. It's got to be 2,000 acres of internal space. It's huge. They walked me through that whole building. Just, oh my God, they wanted me to see it. I assume the prison guards were told to walk me through this massive prison to show me every square inch of it so that I would learn my lesson not to tell the truth about how the Canadian government functions. What I saw was human rights abuses. I saw violence against human beings that were doing absolutely nothing wrong. That's what I saw. I saw the ugliest human beings in the world doing the ugliest possible things to fellow human beings who just simply made a mistake. And people that were being locked up in this place that is huge, I might add, and cost over $1 billion to build. They were there for things like expired driver's licenses, or some neighbor just made a phone call and said, oh, he yelled at me. That's why they're in these buildings. And the corporation that runs the prison and the corporation that runs the courts absolutely loves it when losers call the cops saying, I'm a loser. This guy yelled at me. They love it because now they have an excuse to go and arrest you, because that's actually the mandate in Canada right now is don't try to iron anything out. Just arrest everybody and put them into the system. If you all stop paying tax, that system goes away. If you all stop paying tax, and here's the best part, forget that. Forget the system. If you all stop paying tax right now, you could all be wealthy. Now, I've been wealthy 3 times in life. This is my 3rd time being wealthy. And I've been broke. I've been bankrupt. I fucking hate it. I hate being broke. I can't stand it because the worst thoughts imaginable plague your mind all of the time when you can't pay your bills. I hate it. Now, if some kind of bill comes up, even a $10,000 bill to me is nothing. I mean, I'm thinking, God damn it, 10 grand, come on. But I pay it. And then I jump on the phone, I make some sales, and I replace that $10,000 immediately. There was a time, folks, I'm going to tell you the truth here. There was a time, remember when McDonald's brought out the McDouble hamburger? It was $1.19 when it first came out. There was a time when I would take my kids out, and I would only get 2 of them. I wouldn't get one for me because I didn't know if there literally was $4 in my bank account. I had no idea. I honestly did not think I had $4 in the account. So I would never eat when I took my kids out. That's how bad it was for me being in Canada. I know a lot of you are in the same boat. So everybody, let's come together on this. Let's all of us collectively agree right now that there is zero value in any of the tax dollars that we're handing over. Our tax dollars no longer build roads. They do not build hospitals. Our hospitals are not even helping people anymore. They're giving them MAID. They're just injecting people with poison and killing them. That's what Canada is doing right now. Why would you want to put tax money into that? Your provincial sales tax and your provincial income tax goes towards that. Your federal taxes go to the Ukraine. Yeah. Goes to Israel and Palestine. Goes to both, just so you know. Goes to Nigeria so that in Boko Haram circles, they can move into the Biafran province and slaughter people en masse. You're paying for that. Goes to Eritrea so that Eritreans can kill Ethiopians. Yeah, you didn't know that, did you? The Canadian government is funding mass murder all over the world because it's money laundering. Because when someone takes your tax dollars and moves it to another country and that country buys guns to go and kill their enemies, there's always a kickback to the politician who sent the money there in the first place. And you're paying for that. So let's agree right now. Let's all of us come to a covenant that nobody who watches this show is ever going to pay tax again. If you have corporate debt, like I said earlier in the show, you sell me your corporation. I'm taking all your debt away. If you have payroll, let's get rid of your RP number. Have me do all of your payroll for you. All right. I'm going to give you back 10% of your source deductions as capital, functioning working capital that's tax-free. Let me take over your entire GST or HST program here. I'm going to cut you back 30 points on every single GST dollar that you collect. It's investment capital. It's tax-free. And if you have capital gains or you think you're going to have some, I will transfer capital losses to you so that none of you ever pay tax to the CRA again. That's the covenant that we all have to come to here. We can no longer allow the Canadian government to do what it's doing to all of us, which is literally killing us. All right, literally. How many Canadians do you know now that are homeless? How many people have you spoken to who cannot make their mortgage payments? How many people have you met in the last 2 years who had to move back into their parents' house in their 40s or 50s because they simply cannot pay rent? You all could pay rent. Even though rent's crazy right now, you could pay it if you weren't paying tax. And I'm the only one who's ever going to tell you the truth about how Canada truly functions. I'll repeat myself before we take questions and answers. The Canada Revenue Agency is a collection agency only. They are not cops. They have no authority. They cannot arrest you. They cannot detain you. They cannot get a warrant to search your home. They have no capacity to get you in front of a judge. They are nothing. They are nobodies. Just today, I told an auditor, you're not coming to my client's place. If you come, we're going to arrest you. It's that simple. Guess what? Audit's over. Just like that. They have no capacity to do anything. The CRA has nothing to threaten you with when you stand up strong. If you've got your bank accounts all in corporations, if your property are in corporations, your cars, your trucks, your motorcycles are in corporations, and you're not the director, but just the owner, just the shareholder, they have nothing to threaten you with. Nothing. And here's the other part. They're not smart people at all. The intelligence quotient in the CRA appears to be less than 72 for most of them. You got to remember, when they hired 30,000 people, they hired them from Africa and the Middle East and Southeast Asia and South Asia and so on. They were not looking for the cream of the crop. They were just looking to fill DEI hire spots. That's all they were looking to do. And it failed. CRA's broke. They're not making money anymore. They're paying all these salaries out to people that don't actually bring any money in. Think about that. That's actually a good time for us. This is a very good time for all of us to stage a simple revolt. And that revolt does not need guns. It does not need knives. We don't have to burn anything down to the ground. We just have to stop paying them anything. Stop paying tax and you will be rich. My name is Kevin J. Johnston. Go to my website. Get a hold of me right now. I want to make all of you rich. Being rich is fantastic, folks. I love being wealthy. You should try it. I guarantee you're going to love it. My presentation is over. We have 45 minutes left in our show. It is now question and answer time. All right, let's go to the YouTube room first. Let's have a quick look over here on YouTube. All right. What will the CRA do if someone that's been filing taxes for decades just stops? Also, is there a way to put property from personal into a numbered corporation without paying land transfer tax? Right now, the only province that charges land transfer tax to move everything into a corporation is British Columbia. I'm still looking for a loophole. I will find one, but the other provinces, the other 9 of them, do not do that, everybody. All right, so there we go. So Rokaleo, as the sole director, without spooking the bank and the lender, the rent and not covering the expenses. I'm not following your question. Could you rephrase that one, please? I'm sorry about that, but I didn't quite understand what you were asking me there. I'm just going to shoot over to the Rumble room and have a look at the questions that we have there. All right. Okay, so Robbie Milek, you're asking me if I can get you back 10 years of taxes. Until middle of last year, yes, we could. The CRA has made an alteration of policy, so the best I can do now is 5 years, but it most certainly can be done. Okay. And Fripp, the CRA doesn't freeze MasterCards. There's something else going on there. The CRA will freeze a bank account, but it's actually, I shouldn't say that. The CRA does not freeze anything. They send a requirement to pay letter to the bank, and the banks are the ones, without a court order, they choose to freeze bank accounts. So you got to sue the bank, everybody. Please do not contact me in DMs on social media, everyone. That's where the scammers exist. Do it through my website, please. Okay, let's have a look at the TikTok questions here. I'm an employee at a car dealership. F&I, insane amounts of tax are taken from me. How can I avoid this? Utilizing medical expenses and the T2125 form. If you work at a car dealership, the odds are pretty good. You got to pay for a lot of things like lunch and tools of the trade, like shirts and ties and dry cleaning and otherwise. So the T2125 form, typically, if I put forward all the expenses that I'm legally allowed to put in there, I can reduce your income to about half on paper, which reduces your tax bill by half. I'm very good at what I do. Hit me up on my website, please. If I have a mortgage, can I still switch to a corporation? Absolutely, you can. 100% you can do that. How can I get in touch with you? Your office does not reply. Well, Bat Dad, what you got to do is go to my website right now. I got Chris literally 8 feet to the left of me. He's checking the website right now. Contact me right now on that website, on the contact page of Kevin J. Johnston, JOHNSTON.com. Do not use DMs. I do not speak through social media. All right, more questions here. What do I think about real estate in Mexico? Well, Puerto Vallarta is out. It is grossly overpriced unless you want to live up on the mountain, which is not a bad idea. Like Mexican locals they're good people. There's nothing wrong with the locals, period. I mean, I'm here in Panama, and the neighborhood that I live in is nothing but locals. It's actually pretty wild because I get $2, $3, and $4 dinners all the time. But Puerto Vallarta, the The gay movement that was there was actually quite conservative, but now it's switched to extremely left wings. And I don't want anything to do with the left wing nonsense. I don't care about the gay stuff. A conservative, we actually have 2 conservative gay guys that work for the company, but they're conservative. They are into family values. They don't want pride flags anywhere. They don't want anything to do with the left. But Puerto Vallarta went left. And if you're into that kind of thing, hey, then it's heaven for you. If you are a left winger, Puerto Vallarta, but it's expensive, man. It is like twice the price it was even 5 years ago. Now, Mexico City, I've never been to. I can't comment on Mexico City. I've never even flown over it. Don't even know what it looks like beyond photographs or Google Maps. So I can't comment on that. I've been to Playa del Carmen and Cancun and Tulum. Tulum, complete ripoff. I wouldn't waste your time. In Tulum, Mexico, on the Yucatan Peninsula, what they did is they built a brand new airport to try to get people to buy overpriced shit. It's garbage. What they're building in Tulum is junk. I'd give you about $60,000 for what they're building out there. And they wanted me to, like the one guy I spoke to, wanted me to pre-buy an 800 square foot little piece of crap on a beach that's going to be finished in 2032. I would never tie capital up that long, period. I got upset because I went to an open house on a new gated community that they're going to be building here in Panama in a place called Santa Maria, which is really expensive. A lot of rich guys live there. And they wanted to get a $300,000 deposit on a $550,000 purchase. Now, it's not a bad purchase considering the fact it's a 4-bedroom condo and it's got something like 2,700 square feet right beside a golf course. Cool. All right. Excellent. So I'm thinking they broke ground. So maybe 2 years? Nope. 8 years. So I'm thinking I'm going to give someone $300,000 to $350,000 plus the legal fees to go with that and do nothing with that money at all for 8 years. The hell with that. I'll take 350,000 US dollars and I'll buy Bitcoin instead and just wait for the bull market. So when the building's actually finished, then I'll go and buy a condo. Forget that. I am not pre-buying anything. I cannot and I will not tie up capital. I don't recommend you tie up capital these days. I recommend you keep your money working for you at all times. So getting back to the Mexico question, I've elected not to buy in Mexico until prices begin to balance out. The only place I would really consider it is Playa del Carmen because there is such a contrast between the rich area for gringos and the locals. The locals got it cheap. The gringos get ripped off big time. Like $25 for a margarita there and $40 for a cigar this big. Ay. Ay de la vida, as they say in Spanish. No, I'm not investing in Mexico, period. El Salvador I am, and Colombia I am. I'm actually heading down to Colombia again very shortly because I will be getting my hands on no less than 2,000 acres of beachfront property. That kind of thing is for sale. So in some cases, folks, trying to buy in established areas may not be the way to go. But you got to tell me what you want before I could guide you on that. I love living in Panama City. It's an incredible city. At the same time, I do work too much, and I really would love to have a beachfront resort that I own so I can just go sit on my own beach and enjoy myself, period. After a consultant with you, how long should it take to get service from your tax guys? Well, it's my company. It's us. So how long does it take? As soon as you sign the contract and pay the deposit, you're in. That's just how that works. Okay. A CRA officer is asking me to pay a corporate debt. Sell me that corporation. Get a hold of me right now on my website. Chris is standing by right now. We're getting replies out the door tonight. You just filed. Sorry, Aaron, what do you mean? Who just filed for you? Could you let me know what that means, please? I'm a construction manager and make a large salary, pay way too much in taxes. Yes, because you're not writing off all your tools, your laptop, your phone, your tablet, your boots, your hard hat, your jacket, blah, blah, blah. The list goes on. You know, your parking fees, your fuel. If you make even one phone call related to work from home, everybody, then I can write 1/3 of your entire house expenses off. That's right. Make one work-based phone call. Now you got a home office. Accountants won't tell you this. I'm telling you this. I can knock your tax bill down a half of what it is currently. Where can you find out about my information? Hit my website up, everybody, kevinjjohnston.com. Okay, Bat Dad, get a hold of me now. Go to my website right now. Contact me now, please. What if you don't file personal income tax? All right. If you've never filed personal income tax in your entire life, they probably won't know anything about you. They're most likely never going to ask you to do a tax return, period. One thing that some people will do when they know that they're going to be opening up a business and never working for anyone again, they cancel their social insurance numbers. If you don't have a social insurance number, there's no tax bill, just like that. If I'm your tax guy while you're running your corporation's never paying tax again. So imagine that. There are all kinds of ways to get around that. But if you don't ever do your first tax return, they'll never expect you to do one. If one day you decide to stop paying tax, they'll begin to assess you, reporting tax. They'll start to assess your tax returns unless you let them know that you're no longer a Canadian resident. I don't care if you lie and say, oh, I've left the country, I've gone to Portugal, and turn in your social insurance number. You do have the right to cancel a social insurance number and get a new one. You could also report your social insurance number stolen and it'll be canceled on the spot, and then just don't get a new one. And you're persona non grata. I want to give my house to my niece. I bought the house with its $400K. Now it's worth $1 million. Okay. Heavy D, get me to do this for you. All right. We'll get you a corporation. We'll get you corporate bylaws, and we'll make sure that she gets the house with absolutely no probate whatsoever when you die. Period. Let's set that up now. Get a hold of me on my website right now, please. kevinjjohnston.com. Miss Universe, what about OSAP? Well, there's a lot of case law on OSAP in that a lot of kids didn't know what they were signing when they got into it, and the fine print was a little bit too fine. So one of the solutions that we found was, so long as the person on OSAP had no assets, we would file a $40 to $50 million $40,000 to $50,000 lawsuit against the OSAP department and the university, in that you were shoved this little student loan that you didn't understand. You didn't know you were signing a loan that you actually had to pay back. These are things that we put in there. And the university and the OSAP department has to look at it and say, our lawyer is going to cost us 50 or 60 grand to pay for this, to fight this. And then there's the disbursements and the court fees. This could cost us $100K just to fight this in the courts. You know what? Why don't we just forgive the OSAP debt? And then you drop the suit. That's what they do. Use the courts to your advantage. So Yvonne, yes, we do personal taxes, and we're very good at doing personal taxes. Checking more of your questions here, everybody. Is your office way behind or overwhelmed? No, we're on target. We're busy, but we are on target. We have perfected our artificial intelligence on the internal side here. So the AI, whenever we're having consultations, automatically transcribes meetings and gets all the notes down. So we and our clients have a copy of all that. And we can do forward and backward searching on anything. It took a while to build the system, but it's completely and totally worth it. No, we're rocking and rolling here, everybody. We are rocking here. What's my take on the Liberals attaining a majority government? Well, I think I told you guys about 6 months it was going to happen. 6 months ago, it was going to happen. The longer Mark Carney is in office, the richer I'm going to get. I hate the guy. I despise the modern liberal mindset. And I hate the fact that the Liberal Party has gone from decent to freaking crazy. And I mean, lunatics is what they are. Think about this. 25 years ago, I would have been considered a liberal. That's how, and I'm the same way then as I am now, where I mind my own business. I don't care about your business. I mind my own business. I work hard. I expect to take home what I am owed. I expect to be paid what I am worth. I love traditional family values. I do believe that as a man, it's entirely not my responsibility, but my duty to provide for the family that I have created. Not give them everything they want, not spoil them, but make sure they have what they need. And the most important thing that my family needs is my guidance to make sure that they can make their own decisions, having learned from the mistakes that I tell them that I have made. That's my duty. I believe that. I also believe it's my duty as a man to find a way, if I do have a woman in my life, to make sure that she's a traditional woman and does not have to be out and about working stupid jobs that she cannot stand, because I'm the one making enough to pay for absolutely everything. I want a smoothly running household. I want a kind, caring, loving woman who understands her place so that I can understand my place. It is my place to have a duty, like I've just said. So how do I feel about liberalism? I can't stand it. It's created all these left-wing nuts out there. We're brutally cutting people apart, convincing them that there's something that they're not. For what reason? We're not making money on this, except, the surgeons are making money on this, but it's not helping society at all. So how do I feel about the liberal majority? Just wait until you see how many of your rights are going to disappear before Christmas time. You're cooked in Canada. How much to switch a house into a corporation? Most lawyers, when they do that simple transfer, are between $1,000 and $3,000. Like $2,000 is kind of the average on that. That doesn't cost that much with those guys. Content is asking me, can I talk about personal tax? What's your question? Go ahead. Should I do my taxes with H&R Block? Well, if you want to pay a lot of tax, sure. If you want someone who has no clue what they're doing to do your taxes with software that the CRA approves, so that means you're paying taxes, sure. If you don't want to pay tax, then no, don't go and see those people. They suck at what they do. I chose to take my Canada pension plan 5 years early and lost 30%, but now I still pay full CPP deductions. Yeah, there's a way around that, but it's not easy. What's my contact info? Everybody, my staff is here late tonight. We're working late tonight. Go to my website, Kevin J. Johnston, JOHNSTON.com. Hit the contact form. Tell us what you want. We are replying to all those emails tonight. So everyone who contacts me tonight gets an answer with me and Chris and the rest of my team tonight. Head on over to my website and get that done. No, I'm not married. Every show. Why? Who's asking this question? Is it a guy? Is there some guy asking me that question every show? It's crazy. I have a corporate loan worth $200,000. I do not want to sell my company. Can I file bankruptcy? If it's a $200,000 personal loan, sure, you can file bankruptcy. But if you have a corporation and that loan is in the corporation, no, bankruptcy is not going to protect you, because corporate bankruptcies in Canada, they're a myth. It's not possible to be in a position where a corporate bankruptcy is just going to go nice and smooth. Somebody always objects. Guess who? The CRA. Oh, someone's laughing at me here saying, ha, 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 you want a trad wife. Of course I would, if I was going to get married again, which is highly unlikely. But yeah, you're damn right I want a traditional wife. Why is that funny? I don't understand. Why is that? Hey, do the ladies in the room, answer this question for me. Do you ladies in the room want a traditional man who wakes up, is real good to you, you have breakfast together in the morning, and he leaves, he goes to the gym so he doesn't turn into a fat slob, busts his hump at work, brings the dough home, make sure that all the bills are paid? Do you not want a traditional man like that? Someone breaks in the house, your traditional man, he stands up and puts a bullet in the guy who's trying to attack you and rob you and so on. But if you want a trad man, why is it bad that I would want a trad woman? I'm absolutely a traditional man. I will meet my duties until the day that I am dead. Yeah, man, traditional stuff, it works. You know why the economy was great in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s? Because we had traditionalism. That's why, folks. It's not a bad thing. Being traditional is not a bad thing. And we're seeing a lot of women now on TikTok and Instagram and all these other places crying, saying they don't want to work. They want a traditional husband. They will now succumb to being a traditional wife. They realize that they were lied to by Hollywood. Now, having a career, if you don't have the mindset for a career, you shouldn't have one. They're not easy. Some people are better suited for jobs, not full-fledged careers. And some people are better suited to be a homemaker. Now, there's nothing wrong with it. My God, ladies, can I just say something here? There's nothing wrong with being a mom. I think it's a wonderful thing. And the best time of my life is when my kids were toddlers. I had a blast when my kids were toddlers, man. It was phenomenal. Being a dad was the best thing I ever did. Being a dad tops everything I've done. Throwing myself out of an airplane, that was cool. Bungee jumping, that was cool. Climbing active volcanoes, that was cool. All right. Being rich 3 separate times in life, that was cool. But none of it ever compared to being a traditional father. None of it. So before you make silly comments like that, understand that there are some of us out there who do understand our place and do understand our duty. And my duty is to provide everything I possibly can for my family. And they're the ones who get the benefit of what I do first. Because I created kids. Why would I not take care of them? Why would I not teach them and educate them and make sure they have what they need? Come on. Let's not be silly here, folks. Oh, yes. Anybody who's got debt, I'll buy your company and get you out of debt, folks. Come on. Let's get this going here. Stop trying to pay the CRA off. And John over here is asking me an email, should I get a bank loan to pay off my taxes? Absolutely not. No, let me redo those taxes and get rid of that stupid tax bill. Let's move your house out of your name and let's get your bank accounts out of your personal name into a corporation so that the CRA cannot take anything from you. By the way, everybody, we've only got 28,000 likes here. Let's get everybody on TikTok go two fingers. Let's get the hearts just rocking up the side of the screen here, everyone. We need to get up to 50,000 likes because TikTok loves that. Now, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, get it out there. If you're on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, please retweet it. If you're on Facebook, share it. Let's get the sharing going, folks. The algorithm needs to know that we are here. All of you need to know this information. I want Canadians to just stop paying tax forever. Alrighty. Good question there, Phoenix. What's coming to Canada before Christmas time of this year? Mark Carney is absolutely going to pass Bill C9, Bill C15, and all the other ones. So what's going to happen here is that you will not be able to say anything in Canada. If you offend anyone, there's a potential for a $50,000 fine, an ankle monitor, or in extreme cases, they'll just lock you up for life. They're actually wanting you to do lifetime in prison for offending people. Now, I've got a really big mouth, which means I should not be in Canada. Yeah, it's just not a place I should be, because when people create laws like this, it's because they are very weak individuals. Only weak men create stuff like this. The weakest of the weak will make the worst laws going. I assure you that with this native nonsense going on in Canada, there's going to be at least one more city that gets handed over to the United Nations. Don't think that with these judges giving cities and land to natives, that it's actually going to the natives. It's going to the United Nations, guys. The UN is using the so-called natives in Canada to garner sympathy, I suppose. All right. And I have a real problem with that. I don't sympathize with any particular race in the world because I know history. I've studied history. And I know that when the natives lost the war, there was a war, they were conquered. They didn't have the technology nor the battle tactics to win. They were conquered. And yet here we are saying, hey, sorry, you were conquered 200 years ago. Here's a whole city. Do you really think it's going to a native clan? Or do you think that maybe the UNDRIP, UN DRIP, remember that? I told you about that 8 years ago. You all laughed at me. Do you think maybe it's the United Nations utilizing one particular group of people to just steal your land? And the Canadian government, the Liberal government, now majority government, is giving your homes away to the natives. It's not the natives. It's the United Nations. So what else is coming? You're about to lose a lot, everyone. A lot. My wife works from home. Can we both claim a home office? 100%. One thing that the two of you need to do, though, is make sure that you put down divorced, or just make sure you've never said married on your tax return. Do not tell the CRA if you're married. There is zero advantage to that, and it actually hurts you. Never say you're married on your stupid tax return, ever. But the answer is yes to your question. H&R Block, guys, they have software. The reason they suck so bad is they have software that is approved by the CRA to put as much money in the CRA's pocket as possible. And H&R Block, it's just a franchise, man. So it gets sent out to people who are not accountants, just people who are looking to buy a job. So they get these stupid little kiosks in malls and they screw you. Don't go to H&R Block. If my house is paid off and I'm moving to another province, can I put it in an LLC and start at zero? Well, we don't have LLCs in Canada, but you can put it into a numbered corporation and rent it out if you like. You can also put it into a numbered corporation and then borrow against it and buy more properties. I'm just not buying any more property in Canada. I'm done. Yoshi and Tucker, CRA wants $50K and is starting to garnish 30% of my wage. Your bookkeeper sucks. Hold on. How are they garnishing your wage? Are you the owner of the company? I'll write a legal letter that gets rid of the CRA in a second if you're the owner of the company. Or if it's your employer, then your employer is A, a scumbag, and B, a complete coward. There's no penalty whatsoever. If you tell the CRA, no, we're not going to garnish without a court order, they're not getting a court order. And they quit. When you say no, they quit. And yes, Argo, if you want to see this, it's going to be on freedomreport.ca. If you go to freedomreport.ca, that's where the replay of this show is going to be. I've got 5 or 6 years of videos archived there for your enjoyment. 450K in liras, 250 in RSPs. I want to move to Cyprus. I want to be a non-resident and get the hell out of Canada, get your money out of Canada. Yeah, no problem at all. What you could do, it's easy. We open a corporation for you here in Panama, get you a bank account. We can get all your funds transferred here to Panama through the Cayman Islands, which is also very easy to do. And then the Panamanian bank will transfer the money anywhere you want. Panamanian banks are pretty incredible from the standpoint of they will wire to any country in the world. And then come to Panama, shake my hand, I'll shake your hand, and we can get everything transferred to your Cyprus account. Although I have zero experience with Cyprus, except for knowing where it is on the map. All right. Do I help teachers and other civil servants to get rid of taxes? Oh, of course I do. My God, you know what? It's a challenge because your paycheck is coming from the municipal or the provincial government, one or the other. So it's a little more difficult for me to reduce your tax bill, but I'm always up to the challenge. We have a lot of teachers, a lot of teachers. We have a lot of nurses. We have a lot of cops. Yeah. And yeah, it's very interesting where when I have private conversations with cops in the chat room here is how many of them don't like cops, right? For them, for a lot of these guys, they're just shaking their heads saying, yeah, it's all done. Like a lot of these guys want to leave too. So yeah, if you're a government employee, including cops, I can cut your tax bill down 100% legally. It's a challenge, but you know me, I'm always up to a challenge, folks. All right. Nod Narb, email me on the website right now. You go to the contact form right now, put Nod Narb in the subject line, please. I've got Chris right here right now, and we'll take care of that for you. H&R Block did my taxes. CRA sent me a notice of assessment that I owe 10 grand. Can I delay payment without paying penalties? You have to object to that right away. It's free to object. object to it, and then I can redo your taxes and get that tax bill to zero. But you got to buy yourself time by objecting. You should, if your taxes come back and you owe money, always, always, always object. Go to ChatGPT, tell it to give you the link directly to the objection page on the website. There's the form. It's a PDF. You fill it out and you fax it into the CRA. That's it. It is that simple. You just bought yourself 90 days to get your taxes fixed. Content Plus. Basically, I'm at work. I haven't done taxes in 3 years. Just want to know what I should do or what options exist. When people haven't done taxes for a very long time, that I love, because I can always get the tax bill really low on those. Okay. All right. So sorry, folks, I'm a little bit late on some of these questions here. I'm now seeing all the ladies saying that they definitely want a traditional man. All right. There you go. And yeah, I agree. Traditional women are not lazy. It's not. Look, guys, I had the advantage of my mother having stayed home until I was 12 years old. She got bored and got a really shitty job. And she complained about the job all the time. But I'll tell you this. She worked hard. My brother and I were a pain in the ass. I was a real pain in the ass kid. My mother busted her hump, making sure that the household ran with my brother and myself wrecking the place all the time. I mean, I'm not proud of that. I'm just telling you that as a kid, I was a bit of a dick. And, I saw what my mother did. It's a lot of work. But I can tell you this, that I turned out okay as a result of it. And it was always nice to know that there was going to be lunch waiting for me. I'd walk home, have lunch. I got to hang out with mom for 20 minutes and run back to school. As kids, we loved it. We absolutely loved it. Just going through some of your questions here, everybody. Can you have a corporation if you are an employee? Anybody can have a corporation anytime. Anyone can register many. Currently, I own over 400 corporations. That's how many I've bought. It's probably more. I've lost track. Fortunately, I've got a really good team that keeps track of all the corporations that I have purchased. And there's a question here about bankruptcy. My trustee told me that I cannot be the director of a corporation for 2 years after bankruptcy. Okay, I hear this crap all the time. How would they stop you? Right? But here's the deal. The rules, not the law, the rules say that you cannot be a director after a bankruptcy, but you can be a company owner. You can buy a car after a bankruptcy. You can buy a house. Why can't you buy a corporation too? You'll be the shareholder, just not the director. Who gives a crap about titles? You know what the biggest problem is? Everybody wants a title. How many times have you seen a business card where some jerk, some moron has CPA, BA, BSc, B90. He's got like 5 credentials at the end of his name. And I'm asking him, like, you're an idiot. You've got BS, which is Bachelor of Science. You got a BA, which is a Bachelor of Arts. You've got a BS, whatever else. You got this thing here. How many freaking years did you waste in school? Why were you hiding from the world for like 8 years to have all these stupid designations on there? So on my business card, I would always put down NADT right after my name. And everyone said, oh my God, you're an NADT? It's like, yeah, I'm an NADT, man. Yeah. And finally, somebody asked me what that meant. I said, oh, not a damn thing. Literally, not a damn thing. Oh, and I do have 2 degrees, by the way. I got a BA and an MBA. But I swapped radio commercials. Yes, I gave $25,000 worth of radio ads to Windsor University, and they gave me 2 degrees in a day. 1 day, 2 degrees. I don't bother putting BA, all that stupid shit on my business cards. I couldn't care less about it, period. Anyone who spends 5 years in university is an idiot. Anyone. If you can't learn everything I'm teaching you today within 6 months, you should not be in the industry. Find something else to do, like flip burgers or something. You should be able to learn everything about just that one field in 6 months. The problem with university, everybody, is all the stupid elective courses that you have to take. I went for when I went to college, I went in for architecture. We had English, and then we had business English, and then we had social English. That was 3 English courses, and none of them taught us English. Not a single solitary one. The building materials course, that made sense. The statics and engineering course, that made sense. The blueprints, drawing blueprints, that made sense. AutoCAD made sense. And then there was other electives too. There's like, with a course load of 9 classes, 4 made sense and 5 didn't. They waste your time. It's just a business. If they have you stressed out doing all this stupid homework on stupid crap that makes nothing in your brain actually function beyond being pissed off, it's how they make money. If they have you in a constant state of panic, naturally it's going to take you 3 years to get through that stupid course load. Period. You ever notice how trade schools are between 3 and 6 months and you're done? You get a certificate and you can go be a tradesman. You ever notice that? It's because in trade school, they don't give a shit if you speak English. Can you weld? Good. Here's a job. All right. I live within like 800 meters of the Panama Canal. The Panama Canal requires welders, stick welders and underwater welders and so on from all over the world. Nobody speaks Spanish. I promise you that, who's working on the ships, who are welding holes or welding stuff shut. They just don't. So they all are on either Google Translate or they've got little translator devices on them. What we do, who cares about English? If you're the best welder in the world, I don't care what you speak. You'll probably get the job done. My God, it's just ridiculous, folks. So don't believe the hype. Stop falling for things. If you can't learn something in 6 months, that's not the field for you. The only place where I would say that that's not true would be medicine. Yeah, but you shouldn't be wasting your time writing poetry if you want to be a doctor. You should be learning everything you can about being a friggin' doctor, how to save lives. Not who cares what Shakespeare said, right? I'm not a Shakespearean actor. I'm a doctor, right? So I hate the education system for that reason. They waste everyone's time with workloads just to make you think that you're not wasting your time. How do I find a director for my corporation? Can I make up somebody? You are allowed. It's legal to have aliases in Canada. I happen to have, 7,000. It's possible. It's possible I have split personality disorder. I mean, my favorite poem, after all, is roses are red, violets are blue. I'm schizophrenic, and so am I. So if you have alternate personalities, put that name down as a director. Why would you put your real name down as director? Why would you try to find someone to be the director? John Smith. There you go. Parminder Singh. Common names. There we go. Put it in. What does it cost to put a house in a corporation? Oh, I've already answered that one. In a divorce, do you have to pay tax on equity pulled out of your home as a payout? No, but if you have a bad accountant, they'll put it down that as such. So no. Here's the thing, guys. Divorces, they're ugly, and they usually side with the lady, which they shouldn't, because I find in most cases when I go through people's tax files, the breadwinner was not the woman. And here's the other big thing too. I've had a number of these cases come up. It's kind of weird that I somehow get involved in family court when I'm dealing with taxes. But there's been a few cases where women have divorced their men. They're married to another guy, but we still have to get tax reports done to give to the judge to find out what alimony is going to be. Like, what? Alimony? She's married to someone else. Why are we doing this? Which is where I then forward off those clients to a really good friend of mine who's dynamite in family court. And we put forward the motions to get rid of it, because I will be making sure that man is not paying any tax dollars, so that he's not paying any alimony to someone who's already friggin' married to another dude. Isn't it that traditional man's job, the new guy, to be the traditional guy and pay for everything? That's my thought on it. The CRA has contacted the company I work for and demanded they take money from me. Right. We always, when that happens, we send off a notice of liability to the employer and let the employer know that you will be sued, that the CRA must have a court order to force you to steal my money. technically it's not theft if it's a court order, technically. But it is theft if it's just a requirement to pay letter from the CRA, because the CRA are not authoritarians. It doesn't matter that the income tax says you are required to do something. If I told any of you right now, you're required to come over here and shine my shoes for free, how many of you would say, oh, Kevin says I'm required to get on a plane, land with my own money, take a cab with my own money, get a hotel with my own money, and then shine his shoes for free? Oh, Kevin said, I better do it. The CRA said, I better do it. That's how it works, everyone. It's the same thing. Me demanding you shine my shoes for free is the same thing as a CRA saying give us money for free. Without a court order, it doesn't have to happen. So we can threaten your boss in advance. Okay. Trying to catch up on your questions here. What's the best way to ensure my home and assets to my family after I die do not go to the government? Every asset you have has to be in a series of numbered corporations with incredibly well-written bylaws, and those bylaws will supersede your will. Your will is useless, but the bylaws in the corporation that you swear into the courts are absolutely bulletproof, 100% bulletproof. What happens when you miss the objection deadline? You have no choice. You have to go to tax court. $400 to register for tax court. But what that does do is it delays your tax file for 2 years before you get your day in court. And that gives us enough time to move all your assets out of your name, shut down all your personal bank accounts, put them into corporate bank accounts, and now you're judgment proof anyway. If you own nothing on paper, according to the CRA, and you have no money in personal bank accounts, then the CRA can't take anything from you. You are completely CRA proof at that point. Let me check the Rumble room here. Okay, so CRF Mixer, I've already told you how to clean up the, how to object. Go ahead and do that. Fit check, referral question. I have several wealthy friends who are interested in saving money and not paying tax. A very successful land developer who owns his own business need to start a referral. Fit check, get on my website right now, kevinjjohnston.com, and tell me all about it. Get me all your contact information. I'm going to phone you and we'll talk about it. I like referrals because I love money. I love being rich. I want more money. Look, guys, I'm going to tell you this. Even when, not if, when I get to $1 million per week, that's not going to be enough. I'm going to want to make more. And all of you got to think the same way. Rob Melnick. Rob, yeah, you probably do have 15. So get a hold of me on my website right now, please, if you don't mind. Do it through the website tonight. What banks are good to deal with in Panama? Tower Bank is great because they do crypto and they have stockbroker accounts. Aliado is really good. You've got Banesco, BAC, Banistamo. These are all in like the top 10. They're fine. If you prefer dealing with boutique banks, Banco Azteca is not popular here, but they ask fewer questions. You can get things done faster there. So depends on what you're trying to do. Let me know what you're trying to do, and I can answer that question a whole lot better for you. Robert says here, I didn't get a notice other than to file taxes. A month later, they just sent me a garnishment letter. How do I object? If you're within 90 days, go to ChatGPT right now and type in, give me the link for an objection to a tax assessment. And then from there, you fill that thing out and make sure you put down a good reason, send it into them. And within 90 days, they're probably going to side with themselves, but that gives you 90 days to fix your tax problem. And Kamika 1, Kevin, what about FinTrack? They are a criminal institution. You got to make sure that you do everything you possibly can to stay away from those people. I will at some point in the future do a full-blown show on FinTrack, what they're all about and how to beat these people. It's tough to find out what's going on internally there. I mean, I know the case laws and I know the information and how they function, but the internal workings of FinTrack, we just don't know how it works. And yes, the CRA right now, they're taking up to 10 months to even look at tax files that have been completed. Holy smoke, everybody. It's It's already been 2 hours. Absolutely unbelievable, everybody. My God. But I tell you what, I'm going to answer 10 more questions here, and then we'll cut the transmission tonight. How's that sound? Let me get caught up on your questions. I am an executor of an estate. How can the probate and capital gains be avoided? Well, probate typically starts with the lawyer sometimes that you have, if the guy's a jerk. If the lawyer thinks that he can make money off of probate, he'll put it into probate. It's always best to not have a lawyer dealing with the estate. The executor also, there's been a lot of people who are executors who contact me saying, I'm the executor and I put everything into probate. I'm asking, why would you do that? Oh, I thought I was supposed to. And here's the big thing here. Who told you to put anything into probate? They don't teach us in school, put your house in probate. So where does this probate crap come from? So never put anything into probate. If you've got greedy and selfish sisters and brothers and so on, and you are the executor, tell them, listen, anyone who puts this thing into probate is getting nothing. I'll promise you that. And then you got to make sure that if they get a lawyer, contact me and I'll drive the lawyer nuts. I will burn out your sister's or brother's retainer. That's the thing here. You have to keep property out of probate. And as for the capital gains, you got to make me your tax guy and I'll move everything out of that estate. Everything. And we don't do the dead man's taxes or the dead woman's taxes for 3 years after death. That is how we protect what you've been given. After you move everything, then we do taxes. Maybe. Does bankruptcy of an LTD affect you personally? No, it does not. It absolutely does not. Okay, checking a couple more questions here. Did I used to work for CFNY? You guys remember that? Holy crap, that's 1993. I worked for CFNY for about 6 months, maybe. So I did only 3 shows, just so you know, when I worked there. Thanks for remembering me. I appreciate that. Wow. Can I send you my taxes by mail? Can you scan them and email them to me? That'd be a whole lot better, please. Sandra, would you please go to my website right now, like I've told everyone tonight, and put down the subject line exactly what you need an answer to, because we're going to be staying a bit late here tonight answering everyone's questions. And sorry for the blurriness, folks. This is my older phone. It's the only phone that works with the headset. I got rid of the echo tonight. By the way, on TikTok, is there an echo when I'm speaking tonight? I'm using Shock's headsets tonight to eliminate the bouncing off of the windows here of sound. Okay. I'm just going to rifle down to the bottom of the list here, folks. I see. Okay, good. I'm happy it sounds good because they're actually really comfortable. By the way, these Shocks, SHOKZ, they were recommended to me by a friend of mine because I was just getting frustrated with having stuff stuck in my ears and all these cords dangling everywhere. So these ones wrap around the back of your head, but they don't go inside your ear. They vibrate the bone, and they're pretty good. They're great for voice. Wonderful. They suck for music, though. You don't get any bass at all. But I hear everybody crystal clear who's talking to me when I'm wearing these things. So I do highly recommend them if you want to keep stuff outside of your ear. Fabulous. Okay, show them. I've already addressed you. Stop copying and pasting that into the chat room, please. All right? It's pushing everything to the bottom. Let me go over to YouTube. All right. Do you have to cooperate with an audit? No. No. An audit is them telling you that you're guilty of lying to them and that they want to prove your innocence. That's how they think. Just for the record, everyone, the CRA does not believe that you're innocent. Hi, you're innocent, so come over here, and we're going to come over to your place, and let's go through your records, and you can prove you're innocent. Yeah, that's not how life works. It's you are innocent. They have to prove guilt. The audit, they're always going to find something in the audit. So we tell them, no, we're not going to cooperate. No, thank you. Do not come to the house, and so on. If you come to the house, we're going to file criminal charges. Just get lost. No, you tell me what you're looking for, and I'll find it for you, and I'll do the audit for you. You do not have to cooperate with these people. They have no power. Okay, Sandra, just go ahead and type me an email right now, please. Put Sandra from TikTok in the email. Do that right now if you don't mind, please. All right. Looks like we got through all the questions, everybody. This is remarkable. Man, I want to say thank you to all of you for being here tonight. And do not forget, everyone, let's cover this next Wednesday. Not this Wednesday, not tomorrow, but the following, the 29th of this month, is another group consultation, everyone. So it's only $250. It's between 2 and 3 hours where everybody gets to listen to a quick tax lecture, and then you get to ask a question directly, and I will answer every person in that room directly. There's only 30 spots available for each one of them. I know that we're halfway sold out so far. There it is there. Group consultation. They're actually a lot of fun, and I really enjoy. Oh, Fireworks Mike, man, how you doing? How you doing, brother? They're a lot of fun for me. I thoroughly enjoy them because it's 30 people plus 2 of my staff, and that's it. We go through everybody's individual questions. And a lot of times what's really cool is the people who are listening to each other, they're actually getting 30 different answers to 30 different questions. So it's an incredibly educational night. Get over to my website, kevinjjohnston.com right now and grab yourself a group consultation. We're half sold out for next week. That means there's 15 spots left. They do go pretty fast, folks. So please don't delay. Get the group consultation now. Let's talk face-to-face. Let's have ourselves a lot of fun. Wow, everyone, that's it. I'm exhausted. I got here this morning at 6:30. I've been talking to clients all day. We had to prep the show. I had to do the show. And now I got to go answer all of your lovely emails this evening. So I want to say thank you for that as well. Woo! Don't worry, everyone. I'm back again next week. My name is Kevin J. Johnston. This is the Tax and Money Show that runs absolutely every single Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on freedomreport.ca, where every single one of my shows is archived. You can go back 5 years and see this lovely fotch when it was fatter in the past and slightly better looking now. God, folks, there's so much content there for you to enjoy, and I have a blast every time that we do this. I'll see you all in a week. I love you all, and good night.